Johnson and Kurt Russell are ready for win number 1 in the Team USA. ESPN presents the 1990 Popeyes OPT Offshore Race Fest. The 1990 Popeyes OPT Offshore Race Fest is sponsored by Popeyes Famous Fried Chicken and Biscuits, through the Offshore Professional Tour season, the points race is heating up in all classes. The OPT fleet has arrived in New Orleans, Louisiana to do battle on the unpredictable waters of Lake Pontchartrain. Welcome to New Orleans, Louisiana. A big turnout for the 4th stop on the OPT Tour. Hello, everybody. This is Art Ekman with Jim Hendrick. And, Jim, we've got an exciting competitive aspect today in that the 4th stop has all points races really heating up.
In most cases here in classes today, there's less than 400 points, closer to 300 in the classes, separating 4th place to 1st place. So they must finish today. They must finish if they hope to, of course, stay in the race for the national high points in their individual classes.
And it's fun being in the hometown of one of OPT's pioneers.
Oh, Al Copeland, this is the hometown of Popeye's Chicken. He financially supports this race. He financially supports the sport. He's quite a competitor.
And an interesting aspect, I think, is this is the first freshwater run of the season.
And I believe that the engines will run smoother because of the freshwater. Saltwater, of course, you know, tends to clog some of the parts. So we'll get some good speeds here today.
Lake Pontchartrain, interesting course because it could be different from one side to the other.
This course can have 2 faces. They can run in rough water on one side of the course, run into smooth water on this side of the course. It's an ever-changing course, a shallow lake. Rollers can tend to pop up, so it has a fickle face.
And speaking of the course, the navigators should play a more important role today.
Especially after the big laps where they have to get the checkpoints down the lower end of the course. They have to be careful. They could cost them, well, they could cost themselves a race if they don't watch checkpoints very carefully. Now let's check the course. The fleet will start 3 miles offshore on Lake Pontchartrain. Heading southeast, the boats will sprint full throttle toward the shoreline at the west end boat launch at checkpoint number 1. And from here, the race boats will give the spectators on shore a lot to watch, as races will come within splashing distance of the seawall. After making checkpoints 2 and 3, the fleet will proceed northeast to checkpoint number 4 at the end of the pier at Lakefront Airport. Low-flying aircraft just might keep an eye out for high-flying race boats today. Once around the pier, it's on to checkpoint number 5 and a short sprint past South Shore Harbor Marina to checkpoint number 6. Then comes a 10-mile-long straightaway where navigation will play an important role. At checkpoint number 7, only 1/4 of a mile from the causeway, the fleet makes a run back down the course to checkpoint number 1, completing a long lap of 26.5 miles, on which all classes will make 2 circuits. Following the shoreline again, the fleet will make its way back to checkpoint number 6 and head northwest back to checkpoint number 4 north. Then the races will run southwest back to checkpoint number 1, completing a medium lap of 18 miles, which the Superboat and Open classes will make 5 circuits, and the Pro 1 and 2 will make 3. The race will end with an all-out dash for the finish just after checkpoint number 5 near the wet pits. Each class must make a predetermined number of laps to finish today's race. 8 laps for 154.5 miles for Superboat and Open, 6 laps, 118.5 miles for Pro 1 and Pro 2. Thunderstorms are threatening, but right now it's an unusually ideal weather day for our race. 87 degrees, 63% humidity. The Race Fest, just what the word implies, Jim. It's almost like a big party, and nobody throws a party better than the man who spearheads this event, Al Copeland.
Al, just at the moment before this race starts, you've got to be really a proud person to see the tremendous crowd on the shore and to see the number of boats and that is going to compete today.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. The only thing that's very difficult right now is I'm standing on this boat and I can't go. I got goosebumps. Look at that. That's terrible.
Well, everything has gone right to the letter, hasn't it, with the promotion of it in this area?
Oh, man, I tell you, I'm real proud of it. I'm happy with what's going on. I'm happy to see these people here, and I'm so proud of OPT, and I'm proud of my organization, Copeland's and Popeyes, for putting this thing together. They really did a fine job.
We mentioned earlier that all the classes are in a tremendous points race. It's the time of the year where finishing might be just as important as trying to win the race, Jim.
A scant 183-point lead for this boat in excess, although they've won 2 out of the first 3 races of the year.
This sport is a business. That's what it really is. Only 10% of what happens out there happens when I'm in the cockpit. The rest happens before the race, like any sport. And in most businesses, common sense is what makes things work. And when you put something in the water, common sense means even more than even normal situations. And that's why we've been winning races. We've been using common sense. And if we had too much money to work with, we'd probably gotten ourselves in trouble.
Popeyes Diet Coke, second in the Superboat class after their win at Long Beach. Chuck Norris's debut behind the wheel. Special edition, first in the open class. John D'Elia's placed no better than second, but he's raced very consistently.
Well, I think the new point system has made it very competitive, of course, and one of the things that's helped more than the new point system is the new boats and the additional racers we've had this year. We've had the biggest fleet of open since I've been racing in the APBA and the OPT, of course, and we're getting 7, 8, 9, 10 boats a race, where we're getting 4 and 5 boats a race when we were running with the APBA. So basically, the new point system keeps it tighter, keeps it more competitive, certainly makes it a lot more fun, and the new racers make it more exciting also.
With the victory at San Francisco, Stuart Hayham in recovery is only 32 points behind.
High risk, leading Pro 1 coming off a win at Miami to go with a 2nd and 3rd place finish this year.
And Risky Business currently 2nd in Pro 1.
Great Adventure is our stock Pro 2 leader, winning at Long Beach after a 2nd in San Francisco and a 3rd in Miami.
And 2nd place is Misbehave, the S22 in Pro 2.
Only 303 points behind the leader. Big crowd always wants a closer look at the Team USA crew, and Don Johnson is the head of that crew.
Team USA, Don Johnson, Kurt Russell. Don, will the fresh water in this race make any difference to your engines?
I don't think so. I mean, you know, it's going to be wetter. It'll be a wetter race, and that means that water covers more of the bottom of the boat. But, you know, we're running pretty good. We feel good, you know.
Now comes the navigation. Kurt Russell, have you had a chance to look at this course? It's relatively simple, I think.
Yeah, it is, and I think that if the weather stays clear after the first couple of laps, again, I'll have the best seat in the house today.
This time, of course, you got to watch those short legs counting those laps.
Yeah, the lap count's going to be interesting. I'm hoping that we're able to keep track. I think some of the guys may get confused today, and I hope it's not us.
Don, you're laughing. Why are you laughing?
Well, because there's a very bad rumor going around that Kurt can't count to 10. That's just not the case.
I worked on it for 3 weeks, and I feel pretty good about it.
Referring to the uncertainty of which lap they were on in the Miami race. We'll be back with the start of the 1990 Popeyes OPT Offshore Race Fest right after this. A special moment for Chuck Norris. He plays macho roles in the movies, but continually shows a very warm heart.
Wow. I'll be racing for you tomorrow, Josh, okay? You're going to win? Yeah, we plan on winning. I met a young fellow yesterday who has a rare disease, Joshua, and I'm dedicating this race to this young fellow. And it looks like we're going to have a good race today because the weather's real nice, the water's calm, and if it stays that way, it should be a real competitive race today.
Chuck Norris never gets too big to give of himself to various wish foundations nationwide. One of the most exciting moments, final preparations before challenging the water. There are all kinds of configurations in size and power that we'll soon see on the water.
What we're really watching here, Art, is a race within a race. In offshore, there are a variety of classes in competition at the same time at every event. Starting at the top, superboats, with few exceptions throughout the rule book. Anything goes. Boats range from 35 to 50 feet in length. Multi-engines are allowed, and cubic hitch display replacement unlimited. Costs can reach a staggering $2.5 million for an entire season. The open class boats also range between 35 to 50 feet in length. However, most stay under 40 feet because of cubic inch restrictions. The primary difference between Superboat and open? Horsepower. Both classes always tough. Pro 1 division boats measure between 30 and 35 feet. Power is supplied by double or triple outboard engines, limited to 900 total horsepower, and they're generally kept stock. Finally, there's the Pro 2 class. These stock boats, ranging between 24 and 28 feet with limited horsepower, are designed to allow entry-level competitors a chance to get their feet wet in offshore racing. 4 competitive classes, all on the same course at the same time.
There are also different types of hulls. The deep V is the ideal hull for rough water. The straight V shape with its strakes and chines allows the boat to cut through rough water at maximum speed. A catamaran, on the other hand, allows a faster run on calmer water. Actually, it's a wing connecting 2 smaller hulls. The total design creates lift, similar to that of an airplane wing, and serves to minimize drag. In other words, the deep V hull knifes through the water, and the catamaran flies upon the water's surface.
The Deep V has the advantage in rougher water, the catamaran type in smoother water, which are the conditions today.
The boat's heading toward the milling area right now, Jim, and as you mentioned, a calm condition prevails now, but that could change quickly.
Here's the lineup for Superboat Eric's Reality. Charlie Marks. The driver, the throttle man, Dan Campbell. Popeyes Diet Coke with Chuck Norris and Bob Idoni teaming up there. The team of Barry Roth and Mike Cousineau will be in the Insatiable here today. Thoroughbred with Steve Levine and Edwin Shear. Lucky Strike with Phil Mashinsky, throttle man Jeff Millenhausen. Team USA with Don Johnson and Kurt Russell, of course, Richie Powers on the throttle. Pete Markey and Bruce Jenner will team up at Little Caesars Pizza. Trace Martin, the throttle man. Reggie Fountain and Joey Detour in the 76 Fountain Deep V Hull today. Jaguar Marine Craig Berry and the veteran Jack Clark. Apache Kid Alan Feingold. Jerry Davis will throttle. In Excess, John Garrett looking for win number 3. Ralph Martin, the throttle man.
Offshore racing has attracted some well-known stars, and after participating in several celebrity races, Bruce Jenner decides to step up to the big time, joining the likes of Don Johnson and Chuck Norris.
Who are these guys? Don and Chuck. Huh, sounds like a vaudeville act, but no, I know Don's obviously been doing it a lot longer than I have, and Chuck Norris has come in recently and done some stuff, so I think it's great. I think, first of all, for the sport, it's important. This sport over the last few years has grown tremendously, and it's mainly because of involvement with guys like that. They mentioned to Pete Markey, the owner of the Caesars Pizza Boat, that, oh, you're getting on the celebrity bandwagon. I'm not a celebrity. I consider myself a flat racer. I've been racing for 12 years of my life. Well, actually longer than that. I used to race with my feet. And now I traded in for a race car and now in a race boat. But yeah, obviously I'd like to do well. I don't take up anything that I do and not try very hard and work very hard at it. So, we'll keep these celebrity movie stars, we'll keep them real humble.
The orange flare has fired. The flag is up on the Evolution Pace boat. We're about to start.
Here's the starting lineups for the open class. John and J.D., father and son, the Delias in special edition. Dirty Laundry with Joe Mock and Smitty Smith at the throttle. And the Gentry Turbo Eagle, Bob Kaiser and the veteran Errol Lanier. Recovery, Stuart Hayham and Joey Imprescia. A consistent performer, chairman of the board, Nuri Sabuncha and Harold Stepp. And the brother combination of Juan and Felix Sorellis and Don Q. Crystal. The Superboats have the green flag. The race is underway, and look at Fountain.
Number 76, Reggie Fountain, in his first year of offshore competition, looking for his first victory here today in race number 4.
Don Johnson just under that helicopter, and Team USA looking very strong once again. Zeroing in on Reggie Fountain now. He's starting to pull away.
And doing a fine job with a deep V in smooth water.
Team USA, then Popeyes, Kid Apache, on the outside is Jaguar, and then Little Caesars. What a start. Inside the cockpit now, there's Chuck Norris with the hands on the wheel. Bob Idoni on the right side, the throttle man.
Getting a relatively smooth ride. You don't see him bouncing around too much. And here's our leader, Reggie Fountain, as he comes south toward the spectator fleet. Look at the challenge we're going to get here from Team USA. Are they running good today?
After a 7th place finish in that first race, They've continually improved as they make their pass. They had a 4th place finish in the second race, a 2nd place finish in the last race. They'd love to tack victory on today.
As they go by the spectator fleet, it's about a 2.5 boat length lead for Team USA. As they go by the Lakefront Airport final approach.
The water is so calm, Jim, it looks like we might have record speeds here at the beginning. Here is the start of the open class now. The red boat right in the middle. Dirty Laundry, keep your eye on him. Gentry Turbo Eagle on the outside. Don Q Crystal on the inside in the blue boat. They're off. That Don Q Crystal boat, a 32-foot skater, big block engines, looking very powerful now as they take the lead from the inside.
At the top of the screen, Nuri Sabunja, chairman of the board, will also challenge. These boats are running really heavy now at the start of this 155-mile race. They're heavy with fuel, so they're more stable. But with the nice water conditions today, it might not make any difference. It'll increase speed, but I don't think it'll change the handling capabilities.
What a great tight start. Don Q Crystal on the inside. Dirty Laundry, the red boat, really dialed in after winning the last race at Miami. The Gentry Turbo Eagle looking to finish their first race. Another good start, though, for Bob Kaiser.
Competition is close, and we'll continue with the action from Lake Pontchartrain in New Orleans after this timeout.
Welcome back. Art Ekman and Jim Henrik from New Orleans. The Superboats are turning outstanding speeds.
And Team USA leads Superboats, and their speed, 119.31 miles an hour.
Team USA had their problems yesterday. Their drives didn't get out of the shop. They've only tested this boat once. They took a second in Miami, but had their share of problems there.
Well, we had a lot of problems in Miami. We had carburetor floats that were sticking into motors, causing the motors to flood out. We had one engine that actually shut off in each and every turn that we went into. So we'd go into the turn with 3 motors and come out and start the other motor and take off again, plus one power steering pump blew out. And it was just a real uncomfortable situation. And, you know, we're fortunate that we got what we got. But 1 week after that and all of those problems, we tested the boat again. Don flew in, and we ran about 25 to 30 miles an hour faster than what we ran in Miami. So we're very confident that we're due.
What a battle for first place right now. Team USA and Fountain. Fountain is turning the first lap at 117.61 miles an hour. He's just not letting him get away.
This is his first year of offshore competition. He started racing at the age of 14. Started taking racing seriously back in 1970. And then in the outboard classes was the world champion in 1976 and 1978. Reggie Fountain.
The brand spanking new Jaguar Marine. Running a strong third. Jack Clark designed and built this boat. Same basic design. Perhaps the closest competition at this point in the open class, Don Q Crystal leads Dirty Laundry and Gentry. Now, after finishing the race in Miami, Don Q Crystal sunk, so they had major repair work to do to get ready for this race.
Well, in Miami, we sank after we crossed the finish line. We ripped a 4-foot gash in the bottom of the boat because it was so rough. So we had to get new engines, new steering system, new outdrives. Everything had to be changed, all the electrical, the harnesses. So it set us back a month, you know, the whole program. So we haven't really had any testing time. It cost a lot of money and a lot of effort. We're lucky we made it here.
The 32-foot skater. The skaters dominated the pro classes. Now Don Q Crystal leading the way to moving up into that open division.
And doing it very well at over 110 mile an hour. Here's Joe Mock, winner at Miami in rough water. And today at smooth water, he's getting a pretty good ride. You know, Art, you wonder where they get some of the names on these boats. Dirty Laundry. Well, the driver, Joe Mock, owns several dry cleaning establishments.
It's good to see Gentry Turbo Eagle running strong at third. Bob Kaiser, along with Errol Lanier, the veteran, looking very strong. They've just turned a lap of 106 miles an hour, Jim.
And they're capable of going faster. They estimate they'll hit about 125 mile an hour before it's over.
Chairman of the board, Nuri Sabunja, looking to catch up and move into 4th place. A battle with US 1 Special Edition. Chairman of the board's really putting in their Special Edition. They're blowing by and going into 4th place. Now, they had a tremendous rivalry at Long Beach in which Chairman of the board took that win.
And not by much, as I recall.
Special Edition, a very close 2nd place in that race.
Over the years, we've had a lot of action on this freshwater course.
Jim, this is the 11th year that offshore racing has come inland to the waters of Lake Pontchartrain. This freshwater lake is only 15 feet deep at best, and can be whipped into fierce, big water very quickly with the changing of weather conditions. Lake Pontchartrain has taken a heavy toll on both man and machine over the years and has rightly been tagged one of the toughest race sites in the country. 1987 was a year when this lake bared its teeth and took a bite out of the offshore fleet. It started when the big water flipped the Seahawk catamaran of Sal Magluta and put the crew in the water. Luckily, no one was seriously injured. But that wasn't the case when the smaller classes felt the worst Lake Pontchartrain could offer. Terry and Byron Hill of the then stock class Panama Jack race team catapulted off a wave and barrel rolled. The force of the water impact seriously injured Byron Hill. He had to be evacuated by helicopter to the hospital. Then it was young J.D. D'Elia's turn. Running the small stock class breakaway, J.D. and his driver Brad Cox also launched off a monster wave and found themselves at the mercy of the angry lake.
Well, it was a very eerie feeling because I really couldn't move much in the water, and all I could hear was motors coming. And my biggest fear was that I was going to get run over. And next thing I knew, I felt someone on my shoulder, and it was a guy behind us who stopped, which helped me a great deal to relax. And before I knew it, I was in a medic boat and on the way to the hospital.
The race had to be black flagged due to the numerous weather-related accidents. All the competitors racing here today know of Lake Pontchartrain's unpredictable history. This course is a prime example of the fact that while these meta machines are battling each other, they still have to survive the waters to claim victory.
And J.D. did survive and went on to race the rest of the year. That was 1987 when his dad was the national champion in modified class. Now father and son are together in open class, and they've been the national champion the last 2 years, 88 and 89.
Look at here, special edition now, making a move on Gentry.
1987, the national champion modifieds was a man that's driving the boat on the right, John D'Elia. That same year, the driver he's trying to catch, Bob Kaiser, was the world and national 87 champion in open class. And since they've teamed up in the same class, this competition has been fierce.
What a traditional rivalry. Two boats that are in the same class, and Jim, they really don't look like they belong in the same class.
Depends on the water conditions. The special edition is only 35 foot. It's a speed merchant. Meanwhile, the boat on the right, Bobby Kaiser, is a heavier boat. It's made of aluminum. Horsepower is relatively the same. Water conditions will sometimes determine who takes the checkered flag first. To get a first-hand view of what's happening during race conditions, my co-announcer Art Ekman took a wild ride yesterday. We'll see what that's all about in just a moment.
As we rejoin the Superboat competition, Popeyes limping around the hometown boat is off power. A fairly good attrition rate right now. Calm water doesn't always mean a low attrition rate. In the heat of competition, calm water, sometimes these guys can overtax their engines.
Well, this engine so far has not been overtaxed. Team USA running the best they've run all year, averaging over 114 mile an hour. They still lead, but Reggie Fountain in the Fountain Deep V Hull is pressing only about 2 mile an hour behind. He's going to challenge.
This could be a great day for either boat. Reggie Fountain right where he would like to be. He's keeping pace with Team USA.
And you know, Art, the general public get the benefit of the test track here in offshore racing for their pleasure boats.
Well, it means an awful lot to us at Fountain Power Boats because we use what we learn on the race course in building our boats. In fact, that's how I started. What I learned over many, many years of racing, over 30 years of racing, is how I came up with our first boats. And what we learn out here on the race course with our engines and with our drives and our boats, we apply just as directly and as quickly as we can back into the boats we sell to the general public, be it the fishing boats or the sports boats or the cruisers we build.
He's riding good today. He's got it really trimmed out. Everything seems to be working for Reggie in this deep V Hull on calm waters.
He's averaging about 112 miles an hour about this time. Little Caesar's Pizza, the calm water is no friend to this deep V right now, running in fourth spot.
Little Caesar's, the 1989 world champion. In fact, in 1988, he was the World Cup champion in Sportsman D class at Key West.
The Deep V right there, number 45, Lucky Strike. A problem earlier in the race, but they're back on plane, Jim.
This 11,000-pound boat can move along at over 100 mile an hour and give you quite a thrill, as Art Ekman found out in a test ride yesterday.
Ever wonder what it's like riding in a 100-mile-an-hour superboat? Well, hang on tight. Here we go. It takes a crew of 3 to keep this 45-foot superboat in the thick of things. The driver, Phil Mashinsky, is responsible for steering the boat, maneuvering in traffic, and as in the case in most teams, he's the one that signs the checks as the owner of the team. Unlike other forms of racing, Phil does not control the speed of the boat. That job belongs to his throttle man, Jeff Billinghausen. Jeff keeps one hand glued to the throttles always. Every time the boat leaves the water, it's his job to intentionally back off the gas sticks or risk tearing up the equipment. Jeff also has a finger on the pulse speed of the boat. He monitors all the dashboard gauges and controls the ride altitude of the boat by constantly shifting the tab and stern drive angles throughout the race. The third and oft-times most overlooked member of the crew is navigator Bud Billinghausen. The shortest distance from checkpoint to checkpoint is a direct line, and it's Bud's job to ensure the team doesn't stray off course, adding unnecessary mileage.
Jim, my thanks to the Lucky Strike crew for a truly thrilling experience, and also Tom Brunstetter, the cameraman in that boat. I don't know how he held onto that camera.
In open class, taking over at over 107.9 mile an hour is Smitty Smith of the throttles, Joe Mock, the driver, who said their win in Miami was good water conditions.
Well, Miami was perfect conditions for the hull. We had a longer hull, the largest hull in the class, and it was fairly rough, so we were able to span more waves than the other boats. The boat's dialed in now. We had some water pressure problems in California, which wasn't the fault of the boat, wasn't anybody's fault. It was just time to get the problems ironed out, and they're ironed out now.
What about the competitive aspect of this race now? You don't have just one opponent that's going to give you pressure, or two opponents. You probably have 6 or 7 out there.
Anybody can win this race. Every boat here is closely matched, and it's going to be a free-for-all out there.
Joe Mock and Smitty Smith, things well under control right now. I thought it only fitting that Smitty, with all his many wins, got his first win at home in that Miami race.
In second place now, on the left, is the Catamaran Special Edition. And in third place, Nuri Sabunja, chairman of the board, the wider Catamaran on your right here in open class. You know, our Special Edition currently running in second and high points this year. Last year, won 4 races. Marathon, Cape Coral, Florida, Bay City, Traverse City, Michigan. Now in OPT, they're second place, and they haven't won a single race yet this year, but they have been consistent.
We'll be back with more action from the Popeyes OPT Offshore Race Fest right after this. Art Eckman and Jim Hendrick, welcome back to Offshore Racing in New Orleans as we take a look at the smaller classes in Pro 1. It's high risk. Richard Felsen coming off a win in Miami. He leads the points race, but not by much, only 45 points.
Oh yeah, we're all evenly matched. I don't change my strategy regardless if I'm in first place or fourth place. I want to win every race I go in. I'm not going to hang back and say, oh, I'll finish third and, you know, and protect my lead. I love to win, and I'll run the same race I've been running for the last 5 years just to win. I love it. I'm not going to be third. I want to win.
He is quite a character and quite a mainstay of this particular division in OPT.
Well, he's really got those 3 265 horsepower Mercury engines winding out as we see now the battle for second place. Risky business. Stephen Dorsage, he's had a consistent run with a 5th place and 2 second place finishes so far this year. And he's up against the sister Team USA team.
This is a 32-foot skater cat with Alan Shapiro and Dave Perry, not to be confused with the other Team USA, which is, of course, Don Johnson and crew in the Superboat class.
Such competitive racing where specialization gives way to versatility. Many times 1 or 2 men do all the work on these boats. Okay, now for Pro 2 in the update. Conch Attack. They were second in Miami. They did not race in California, but he's averaging over 87 miles an hour.
And, of course, this class anywhere from 24 to 28 feet. The boats are very similar. They are strictly stock boats in competition.
Oh, you can really tell right there how similar they really are. Skater Express moving into second place right now. He won the Miami race, the last race.
And riding very well here today. Meanwhile, Great Adventure S4, Bill Gazelle and Warren Gazelle doing very well. They're from Bricktown, New Jersey.
Jim, they're the points leaders in Pro 2 after 3 outstanding finishes. Bill told us that the Super and Open boats aren't for everyone.
Well, we're really happy about our start this year. We've got a first in Long Beach, a second in San Francisco, and a third in Miami. And it puts us out in front in points for the national championship to this point. I'm really happy about racing in this class because it's a very competitive class. We're competitive in this particular class, whereas if I was in an open class boat, I wouldn't be as competitive because it takes a lot more money and time to run open class.
Great adventure, getting the most out of their finances and skills. Let's check out the superboats, looking more and more like we're going to have a battle of the wire in Superboat. Fountain and Team USA, incredible battle, Jim. The Big Cat versus the Big V, well over 110 miles an hour, and they're neck and neck still.
And both boats look like they're trimmed perfectly. The heavier boat, of course, to the left of your screen, Team USA. Fountain's boat, the Deep V, just a little lighter, and he's trimmed out beautifully. The air is just right under that hull as he sits off the left hip of Don Johnson and crew. Great competition in flat water. Now it just might come down to whose engine holds together. Team USA currently in first, Fountain second, Jaguar Marine in third. Dirty Laundry leads at an average of 110 miles an hour over the rest of the field in open class action. And we'll be back with a super battle from New Orleans Lake Pontchartrain in just a moment. Jim Hendrick along with Art Ekman back here at New Orleans, Louisiana on Lake Pontchartrain. A very warm day. Thousands of spectators are on hand to see all the action. And sometimes we do have action that isn't quite what we expect, Art.
Well, with so much power and rough element, accidents are bound to happen, Jim, like we experienced in Miami the last race. Thin ice, flipped and then rolled. But Dr. Matt Houghton's crews, they've got it down to a science. They were on the scene with the rescue. This is essential for the sport of offshore racing. Yesterday, Jim took a closer look at the sport's safety technology. The OPT medical and safety professionals are deployed in a two-tiered system to handle any emergency on the course. Now, in addition to the on-course safety personnel, each boat carries the latest in life-saving technology. Most boats are fitted with a structurally reinforced cockpit shell. Many have polycarbonate canopies that deflect water away from the crew in the event of an accident. Working in tandem with the cockpit technology is a 5-point safety harness which holds the crew inside the protected confines of the reinforced cockpit cocoon. OPT spends long hours training racers about what to do should a boat sink or become submerged with passengers trapped inside. In some boats, competitors carry an emergency supply of bottled air within arm's reach. Each member of the crew wears a crash helmet, eye protection, and most importantly, a personal flotation device. In a rescue operation, every second is precious, and being prepared can literally mean the difference between life and death. Back to the superboat action, and look at here. We still have that tremendous battle. Neither team willing to back off and save their engines right now. They're playing a little cat and mouse, Jim. Yes, they are. Neither team wants to let it all out because they know that the difference between the checker flag and not winning is the fact that your engine could let go. So the first one will take the lead. Richie Power is at the top of your screen, handling the throttles of Team USA. A very experienced man. Now he edges forward just a little bit. Let's see if Fountain will respond. You know, Fountain has been in racing since 1970 when he took it seriously. In another classes in 1973, Reggie Fountain won 20 of 31 races. He knows what it's like to win. Don Johnson, though, on the verge. He needs that taste of victory this year. Yes, he has not won since he won the World Championships at Key West in 1988. His only victory. Here's Jaguar in third place. They've run a very consistent race. Craig Berry, and of course Jack Clark. Jack has designed this boat. He rigs it. He handles these boats. He knows the boats. He wants the boat to fit him like a suit. In excess, making a move now, starting to close the gap a little bit, moving up to fourth place, Jim. He's nobody's fool. He's won a couple of races this year, and he leads at high points in the Super Division in excess. Moving up to fifth spot now is Thoroughbred with Edwin Shear. He was third in the open high point standings last year, but this boat now has moved up to the superboat class for this race. Sounding good. Meanwhile, we have a battle going on in the open class division, and take a look at here. The red boat in the lower part of your screen is Dirty Laundry with Joseph Mocken. Look who's coming on strong. The last two-year national high point champion, John DeLea Special Edition, and they're just about a second and a half apart. What a great race right down that shoreline between checkpoint 2 and 3. The thousands of fans getting a great look at this battle. Dirty Laundry at lap number 1 was over 108 miles an hour, about 8 miles an hour faster than the second place boat moving up Special Edition. But since that time, they've been within a mile and a half an hour of each other the rest of the way.
We've just learned that Team USA has dropped off the pace. Fountain in first place, Jaguar Marine second, Team USA holding in there at third. We'll be back with more of the 1990 Popeyes OPT Offshore Race Fest right after this. Welcome back to more offshore racing from New Orleans. We've had tremendous bout of action in the Super, Open, and Pro 1 and 2 divisions all day long, but attrition has taken its toll, Jim.
No doubt about it. Right now, as you can see on the tow ropes once again, is Bobby Kaiser in the Gentry Turbo. 7 Supers, 4 Open, 3 Pro 1, and 4 in Pro 2, all out. A total of 18 boats have not survived a calm waters here at Lake Pontchartrain today.
There's still quite a few boats, though, that are thinking checkered flag. Reggie Fountain with those 3 1,000 horsepower inboard engines. Look at that average speed of over 100 miles an hour.
Well, right now, he's really backed off the throttles since Team USA seems to have developed mechanical problems because Jaguar Marine with Craig Berry and Jack Clark are in second place. So now not being pushed, he wants to save his engine. He must finish to win.
This 46-footer hoping that they can have their best finish of this season. Team USA now slipping down just a little bit. They must be giving hope really to an XS and a shot at catching them for third.
They seem to be running right, but they're running a lot slower. 119 mile an hour the first lap. They're down to around 88 mile an hour now. Meanwhile, NXS has picked up from about 94 mile an hour to close to 104 mile an hour. But I think they're running out of race course in hopes of placing any better than where they are right now.
And hanging in there, 2 young men looking for sponsorship with Thoroughbred. They plan on some engine changes, turbocharging, etc.
As they go by Insatiable, that's the, of course, the diesel-powered boat that has been plowing all day. They've had a problem, but they do want to finish for points today. Give them credit for that.
The fastest speed on the race course right now, Dirty Laundry, averaging 112.70 miles an hour.
That's better than 2 miles an hour over the last lap average. So they've upped their average speed and are currently in first place as they get closer to the checker flag.
In that open division, Special Edition coming up and putting the pressure on, though. 2 different philosophies in boat design, almost inseparable throughout the race day.
Only 1 second off the pace. Special Edition in second place.
After 118.5 miles of competition, the Pro 1 division is getting the checkered flag. It's high risk. Rick Felsen, his second win in a row. Rick Felsen says, "I told you so," as we look at the leaderboard.
95.7 mile an hour average for 118 plus miles. Art Ekman is now with the Pro 1 winning team of High Risk.
I told you at the beginning, I want to win. And the only way you win in this class is to maintain a steady speed. I ran about a 90% throttle. At the end, I let it all hang out, and I just prayed the motors would stay together.
Risky business, and Team USA put up a good battle behind you.
Right behind me, 100 yards behind me. I stretched it out to about 300 yards, and that was it. I told my driver, you make one mistake, and we lose. And he didn't make any mistakes. Come here, John. Come on, John. Whoa!
John Engel, the quiet but happy teammate of Rick Felsen. As we look back at the Superboat competition, more laps to be run. Fountain has proved durable as well as fast.
Fountain first, Jaguar Marine second, Team USA third, in excess of Thoroughbred. And we'll be back with a finish in Superboat and open class action in just a moment.
You're watching ESPN, the Total Sports Network.
What a day for Reggie Fountain as he heads toward the finish line. Almost a flawless race. The man from Washington, North Carolina in his first year of offshore racing will take home his first checkered flag.
And here's the end results of the Superboat class today. At 107.9 mile an hour average, Reggie Fountain wins, Jaguar Marine second, Team USA in excess, and Thoroughbred 1 through 5.
Here's the finish for Pro 2 now, S40 Conch Attack. This is their first place finish of the year, coming off a second place finish at Miami.
Conch Attack at 88.1 mile an hour average leads the rest of the field. Skater Express, Great Adventure, Warcry, and Vigilante Racing.
And the open division boats are finishing up just like we anticipated, Jim. A tremendous battle between Dirty Laundry out in front and Special Edition.
Only about 300 feet, Art. That's about 150 foot a second. 2-second difference as the checker flag falls in open class.
Special Edition really trying to pick up the act, going 113.09 miles an hour in that last lap. But Dirty Laundry had the edge and held on to a 112.70 last lap. What a finish. After 154.5 miles, a 2-second victory. Averaging 109.2 miles an hour. Dirty Laundry over Special Edition. Chairman of the board, Don Q. Crystal, and Gentry Turbo in that order. The victors are coming into the dock area now, and with our Pro 2 winner is Jim at the docks.
This is only your second race.
Yeah, this is the second race of the OPT that we've entered over here on the East Coast, and we got a second and a first. We're tickled to death. We can't be any happier.
Scott, you didn't trail by much. It's almost a wire-to-wire victory for you.
Right. We led the first lap, and one of the boats got around us, and we got back around him again, and then one other one got around us, and we got back around him again. So we never were worse than second any lap.
The Cates brothers, winner of Pro 2 here in New Orleans.
Such a close race in the open class. Joe Mock and Smitty Smith pulling off another victory, their second consecutive win. Let's go to Jim.
Hey, guys, this is 2 in a row.
2 in a row. It was a beautiful race. Probably the most exciting race I've ever been in. It was maybe 100 feet apart at the end.
Smitty, as a throttle man, you know that DeLee is there, less than 100 feet at the checkered flag. Are you aware where they are all the time?
We were aware. The only time we couldn't see them when we'd be directly behind us in our spray. We've got mirrors, and I could see them into every turn. I knew where they were. I didn't think they could get by us, but we certainly knew it was going to be close there at the end.
The Wounded Warriors, the Gremlins striking Team USA again after one of their most impressive performances earlier.
Don, you led for so long, it looked like this was your race.
Yeah, well, that's the way it looked from my seat, too. We ran good. And the guys that won the race, they ran better. And
that's what it's all about.
Yeah, maybe we'll get them next time. And by golly, we've got it though. We proved it. We got it.
A big improvement for Team USA, but the checkered flag today goes to the 76 boat, Reggie Fountain and crew. Art?
The winners of the Superboat competition, and what a competition it was, because Team USA had about a 45-second to 50-second lead at one time, but you held in all the way, Reggie.
Well, we did. My motor builder was up in the helicopter, and he said you can push it for about the first 5 minutes. He says then you better follow on his back door and wait till he breaks, and if he don't break, you can run it hard the last lap or two. So that's what we did, and fortunately he broke because he was running mighty good, and I enjoyed running up there with Don Johnson, and since he's a movie star, I wanted to keep him in sight. It was a nice course, and it was a smooth course. It was an enjoyable race. It was really cat water, not our V-bottom water, but this old boat, we say that it's the best you can get for the rough water. It's the same kind of boat we sell all of our customers, same lamination schedule, same designs. Our drives come from Freddie Kiekefer and Gary Baltz, who are part of Mercury Marine, and my engine builder over there, Troy Dennis, he builds the finest engines in the world for me and Merc Cruiser, because he just had me on that thing with cruise control. He told me where I could put it, and it'd run forever, and it did, and he said at the end, if we weren't up there, crank the boost up and let it go, and we never had to do that, thank goodness.
Here's the point standings, in excess by 337 points over Team USA, who's made a big jump up to second place. Popeyes is third, Little Caesars, and Lucky Strike.
Dirty Laundry in the open division with their second consecutive victory, moving up into second place in the points, only 124 behind Special Edition.
High Risk leads by a couple hundred points over Risky Business. Team USA, First Defense, and Thoroughbred in Pro 1.
And in Pro 2, Bill Gazelle holding on to that number 1 point standing after the third place finish today. Today's winner, Cock Attack, after the win, moves up to 7th place. Jim?